you made it through my last video, congratulations, well done. You'll be pleased to know that I cut a whole load of extra filming off of the end of it, which I'm going to put into this next video now. Don't worry, I stopped just being in the shed filming me doing seeds, although there is a bit more in the shed. I think the next clips I'm going to go on to talk about some tulip bulbs, and actually I'm going to do a bit of the talking again now, because I realised I stood and spoke about these tulip bulbs just filming these boring tulip bulbs, and perhaps it would be better if I spoke to you directly. So the story goes, a friend of mine sent me a message saying she had 4 crates for me. And I was thrilled, and I said, thank you very much, that's great, when can I come and get them? And she said, well, how do you know what's in them? And I said, well, I assumed they were empty. I was just thinking I could use them for storing things, or maybe for planting ranunculus or tulips or something like that. And she goes, oh, no, I'll leave them in the stable for you next time you're passing. Come and take a look. So that's what I did. And actually, the crates were full of tulip bulbs, and I'll now go on with the pre-recorded video of the tulip bulbs where I can tell you a little bit more about them. I'm not sure how these are going to be, because these are the film set tulips, or some of them, because I think they grew, was it 4 million tulips they grew for the Wicked film set? I'm not sure. And these are some of those bulbs. She's told me, my friend, she can get me more, and I said, look, do you know what? I think the 4 crates you've got me is ample, especially because I don't know, looking at them, I would say they cut all the foliage off before the tulip had time to store any energy. But then I can see shoots wanting to come. Whether or not these will flower and what colours they will be, we will have to wait and see. I will plant them, and I'm probably going to plant them in, not all of them obviously, but in the crates they're in. They're going to be singles, but colours, they grew them, the film set. I'll try and put a picture of the film set, but they grew them in blocks of the colours, so there is a chance these could all be the same colour. But my friend did tell me she did mix the crates all up and she took bulbs from all different places, so we'll have to wait and see. But anyway, it's very thoughtful of her to get those for me, and just the crates are brilliant. So thanks for that, Sam, if you're watching. So lots of you who tune in regularly are familiar with the little trickling sound that I have in the background to all my videos. And my hydro propagator used to actually be in my workshop. It used to be here, but I moved it. But because I always film with the door open, you can still hear it, so I'm sorry. But I think somebody did comment they didn't mind it. It was quite therapeutic. So here it is whirring away. And I haven't shown you for ages what I've got going on in here. I've always got cuttings in here. It is brilliant. I really recommend a hydro propagator. So I just took some cuttings, new cuttings at the weekend. So they haven't started to root yet, but I put in some Nepeta, I put in some perennial aster, I put in some, I think it's Veronica, and I put in some sedum. So they're all hopefully will root. I'll take you around to look at the biennials now. I've just come round to look at the biennials and caught Charlie having a roll. Oh, so fat he can't get all the way over. Come on, Charlie. No, giving up. Feels better for that. Oh, I better go, because otherwise he's going to come and want me to, I don't know, feed him or ride him or something. He wants attention of some sort. Okay, so some things I pricked out the other day. So these are Canterbury bells, and these are the singles, I believe. Actually, these might be the doubles because I see that label there says singles. These are ones that haven't been pricked out yet. That's to do. Achillea here. They really need water. That's the yellow one, cloth of gold. I've not grown that one before. I wanted to grow that for drying. There's a few little foxgloves in here, but I have pricked out most of them. Toe flax, the yellow. Oh, actually, that's the foxgloves. So I don't know what that is. Feverfew. Now there's two colours in here, but one of the labels has fallen out. But I know that this end is the white one, Snowball, and then that end there is the yellow one. But again, they desperately need watering. And this is what I mean about these composts drying out, because this is the shade over here. This isn't the shade. Oh look, one of my sedum cuttings has got a bee on it. Oh yeah, dianthus that I just pricked out. Oh, these are a type of perennial cornflower, I believe, but I might be wrong there. But I just tried to divide it, and this is a tiny one, but whether or not they'll make it, I don't know. More cuttings here, so some brachioglottis cuttings. They've done nicely, and this is the cuttings I took from my mum's garden. I don't know if you remember, I took Spirea the Bride, and I've got a few of those because I really like that shrub. And then these are again cuttings of a pink gypsophilia. I don't like the way it grows though. It goes really sort of leggy, but maybe it will do better when I plant it out. So I've got a few of those. These are the Achillea summer pastels. These were my, do you remember my dahlia cuttings that I did really late? They never made it into the ground, but they did at least make it into pots because I want them to try and create tubers. So the best thing for me to do to help that is just to keep nipping off all these buds, because I just want them to make tubers that I can grow from next year. So that's why I tried to put them in slightly bigger pots. I've got chrysanthemum cuttings there as well that I never pinched out. Look at it. They're not a very nice colour, they're a yellow. This portrait was basil that never got planted out, and a lot of it just died away. The same with this dill, never got planted out. And these were cornflowers that I did as another succession. Didn't feed them or look after them, and they've just bolted at this silly size. But you get to a certain time in the season where you just sort of run out of time. These are some nice lambs here that I did sow. They're looking really good. That's a really good one to grow from seed. Lambs here, they do really well, and they're really quick growing. They all look really healthy. And then another tray of feverfew there. I have planted quite a few biennials out, so these are just ones I haven't done yet because I need to make space. So in the corner of my shed, I put a curtain up to try and make it darker. I've got boxes of all of my dried flowers back here. I'll take you up to my tack room now to show you what I've got drying at the moment. If you don't like spiders, you're glad this is just a video because my tack room is full of them. Take you into my tack room. Please excuse the mess. Okay, so this is obviously a sea of statice when we come in, but what we've got back there, some dahlias and some nigella. It's going to be quite hard to show you everything actually because the statice sort of blocks the rows. I've got 4 lines which I use washing line, and it's dark in here, which is perfect because then you don't lose the colour. So we've got some hibiscus, some teasel, which I got from my friend's house. amaranthus, and sorry it's a bit dark in here, there's no light in here, straw flowers there, some Ami back here, some zinnias, and I tried to dry buttercups back in the corner, which I cut down in the spring, but I don't think they've worked as well as I thought they would. There's hardly any room in my workshop at the moment, so while we're doing this comprehensive tour of what's going on, I'll just spin you around and you can see what's been happening in here. I'm just hoping if the weather's going to stay okay, because as soon as the roof in here starts having condensation on it, I've got to move all these boxes of dried things. And last year I put them in my house, but because we don't have the heating on in my house, they went mouldy. So when I asked my parents if I could store some boxes in their house, I don't know if they knew how much. But the other problem is I don't want to carry all the boxes back every time I need to use them. So I don't know if my parents are aware that I'm probably going to be making lots of wreaths in their house. But anyway, they said yes. I've had the door of my greenhouse open all summer, but I had to close it because we've had some really high winds and rain over the last couple of days. And what had happened previously is I'd had my door open and the wind had got in under the greenhouse and started almost trying to lift the greenhouse. And I think I lost about 4 panes of glass. So over the, I don't want to say winter because it is only autumn, but for me it's like I have 2 seasons, my growing season and my not growing season, and I'm pretty much in my not growing season. So the door's going to have to be closed, but it's actually really quite nice and warm in here. I've got loads of seed failures in here to throw away. A lot of them aren't even labelled, and they're just basically dried out pots of compost now to get rid of. But you can see what I mean about some of the newer peat-free compost. I mean, I know I didn't sieve this, but I mean, it's really just like, you know, wood bark. And then I've got some poor scented pelargoniums in here that probably need potting on. And these will not survive if I leave them in the greenhouse. I actually need to pot these on and put these in the house. Oh, another job. So many jobs. And then I've got quite a few scented pelargoniums. They're cuttings. And then I've got in here a whole load of ranunculus, which I'm tempted, although it's not particularly good compost. I should change it really. So I'm tempted just to get this really wet and see what happens, but I won't. I'll tip this all out, get the corms out and start them again. And I'm going to try and start them in this crate this year for a bit better ventilation and to stop things getting moist. So I've got 3 of these crates and they've all got ranunculus in, but I do need to tip them all out and go through them. So this is another job I need to do. Oh, so many jobs. And then just a general tidy up. Because I've got things like this that I'd hung in here to dry and they've gone all mouldy. Yeah, a bit sad, but it is what it is. Right, let's get started. So I've just got my sieve and we're just going to sieve the corms out. Some of them, to be honest, look really ropey. I'll show them to you properly in a minute. For now, I'm just going to, because we will soak these. They're really not very good. In fact, they're really, really terrible. But yeah, I mean, that one's almost non-existent. I think I can probably pull some of them out actually before sieving them, because some of them have still got their stalks on. I've got an order which I need to go and pay for in a minute of some new ones. See, that's another job I need to do. So many jobs to do. I'm supposed to have another week left of my season, but I've actually gone onto my website and put everything out of stock because I can only now fulfill orders that I've already got. If new orders came in, I wouldn't be able to fulfill them. The damage from the bad weather we've had over the last couple of days it was really bad actually, because there was loads of stuff I could have still cut for drying that was still quite good, but I'm hoping if it's still warm enough later, I can go and cut some if it's dried out enough, but there's not going to be very much. It's going to be slim pickings. And this compost, this spent compost, will just go and be a mulch somewhere. See, there's one. There's another one. Right, that's all of those ones. That's one trail. It's not very many. Some of them are better than others. Hang on. So anyway, so that's one, but you see how small they are. And to be honest, I'm sort of dividing them here. They're tiny, but when I soak them, they will get bigger than this. This last tray, they actually look a lot better and a lot sort of plumper, and I think that's obviously because the compost has had better water retention. So I wonder if those other ones will have dried out too much. It'll be interesting to see what happens. So to be honest, I don't even know if any of those corms of the ranunculus or anemones are even worth bothering with. So usually I go to quite a lot of care when I'm soaking them and growing them. I'll put them in nets and I'll make sure they've got a filtration system. I mean, honestly, I normally just put them in my fish pond under the fish pump trickle, but because they're so rubbish, I've just stuffed them all in a bowl. I've like I say, I'm ordering new ones. If they grow, I'll be amazed. I don't know what colours they are because I just put them all together, and I haven't saved nowhere near as many as I thought I had. And I've got so many jobs to do that I don't want to spend too much time on that. Right, on to the next thing. I'm a little bit late for this next experiment I'm going to try, but I want to put some of these free tulip bulbs that I got from the Wicked film set into the fridge for 10 weeks before I start them. And I'm just going to go through and pick the better quality ones. And I can't put too many in the fridge because we've only got a small fridge. I've not got one of these full height fridges or anything. We've just got one fridge freezer on top of the other, so we're always limited for space. But we'll do a bit of an experiment with a few of them and see what happens. I'm not even really expecting any of these tulips to flower, but I've gone through and picked the ones that look sort of healthiest. But you know, they could very easily be tulips that have got tulip fire, or they quite possibly didn't have the opportunity to store enough energy. And generally for cut flowers, you use them as annuals and you throw them away. But what I'm planning on doing with the majority of those tulips is just trying to plant them in my verge area and seeing if I can get them to naturalise right on the edges so that they don't have to compete with the grass too much. And you know, if there are any that I can cut, I might cut odd ones because there's so many of them, but to be honest, I'm not planning on even growing tulips for cutting this year. And on that note, I made a purchase. Tulips are hit and miss. I've ordered lots of daffodils. They're far more reliable. They flower every year and you can get some wonderful varieties, but I wanted something else, and it's arrived and I haven't opened the box, so we'll do that together. So something hopefully for earlier spring. They did email me about this order to let me know that part of it is missing, because they basically said that when they were packing the order, they didn't think the quality of it was good enough, and actually they didn't have any alternative, so they refunded my money for that. But this was a collection, so I can't remember how many it's going to be with the one that it hasn't got. So let's us open the box. Look at me using my flower scissors to open the box. Tut, 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 tut. Hear you cry. Okay, they are good. I'm really pleased. sometimes when you order things online, you can get some... I mean, I reckon the one that wasn't very good quality was probably what other companies would send out. I can't remember the company. I'll have to look it out and write on. It's not a wholesale company. This is just a mainstream mail order company that anybody can buy from. Wow. I've just got to try and get them out without damaging them, because they look like they seem to be all sort of packed together somehow. There is plastic, unfortunately. That's what I love about companies like Halls of Heddon, who don't use any plastic. What do you think about that then? So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Worryingly, this one has actually got a flower on it. So I wonder if these have been in some sort of building. Anyway, can you tell what it is yet? I should have kept that on actually, because this was going to seed, and I could have even tried to grow from seed. So I've got myself a little hellebore collection. Yeah, and as I say, I think it was a red, which wasn't up to the quality. I've taken my kit in the house, which includes my scissors. These are the only scissors I now have out here, because I didn't want my kit to get all damaged, so that's why I'm using the wrong scissors. Yeah, they're nice young plants. They do look like they've just been shoved in these pots though. If you look, there's no real root system coming through the bottom, so these have been dug up from somewhere and shoved in these pots. I think I'll harden them out in the pots just outside the shed here, because there's a little shady bit, and I'll probably plant these out at the weekend. But I don't want to upset them. But anyway, I'm pleased with those, and hopefully that will give us some flowers in the garden when not much else is. I have got a hellebore in the garden, but it needed some friends. Oh, this one does actually say what it is, so we'll be able to put the picture up. Oh, in fact, they do as well. So let's start at the beginning. So these two, just to check for the thing. Oh no, they're not. Those two are a pair. Here we are. So I'll put a picture up on the screen of who these are. So these are double Ellen Picotti, and I'm keen to see, because I don't know what they are either, so we'll put a picture up. We've got 2 of those, and then these are the same as well. These are the double Ellen Flash. Okay, so we'll put a picture of those as well. And these ones, one of these isn't very good. This is a double Ellen White. Okay, and I expect this one's the same. Yeah, okay. So we've got 3 varieties there. Anyway, next job is raining now, and now I need to march all of these seed trays over to the greenhouse. The company that my hellebores came from was just Gardening Express. Like I said, I've never bought anything from them before. But they looked okay, didn't they? So we'll give them a go and see. Right, raining again. Okay, so everybody's tucked up in the greenhouse. I haven't repotted on these pelargoniums yet. That's a job for another day. Okay, so continuing on, it's now the 21st of September, so we'll take a look at all of the seeds that I sowed, and I've just stuck some delphinium and larkspur seeds in my airing cupboard on some damp kitchen towel, so we'll keep an eye on those. And I also had said as soon as the condensation started in here, which it has, I was going to have to remove all the dried stuff. I mean, it's really damp in here already. In fact, I'll try and show you the droplets. But basically, all my dried stuff that was in the boxes, I've had to take out. I've had to take my brown paper out. I've got things on these shelves like magazines and tissue paper. It all has to go in my house, which is really annoying because there's already enough clutter in there without adding all this to the list. I'm half tempted actually just to cover those shelves, but I made the roof drip now. This is the problem. It basically, even if it's not raining outside, sometimes it can be like it's been raining in here, which isn't very good for the plants either. So plants have all got to go to the greenhouse. And in here, basically, I need to come in here, I need to cover like my chair, cover the shelves, cover everything so that what's in here doesn't get really damp. I probably need to cover my dresser. So it's a bit annoying. I'd like to use this space all year. It is on the to-do list to put some felt under the roof here, but when it will get done, who knows. So as an update anyway, in here is damp, everything's got to go out. I've evicted 2 snails and a slug. Oh, and lots of baby snails, so hopefully I got them all. Because it has now got really quite damp in my workshop, I have actually moved all of my seedlings and seed trays into the greenhouse. And if it is just quite hot in here, just open the door. But actually it's quite a nice temperature at the moment. So let's have a look at the seedlings and see how they're getting on. I do have to confess that I've made my stock go a bit leggy because I covered my ranunculus corms because they like the dark, and I accidentally had the fabric leaning over the top of the stock tray, which has of course made them stretch and bend for the light. So I'm a little bit annoyed with myself about that. But anyway, I'll spin you around and we can take a look at all those things that I sowed with you and see how they're growing on. Okay, so these are the stock. I think they're all stock. I don't remember doing quite so many. Oh no, it's not stock that have bent for the light. It's the Gadisha. These are the stock back here. But you see, I've covered my ranunculus. They're all under here, hiding away. And then over here, we have got, I think this is probably Amy by the looks of it. Yeah, that's Amy. No Orlea yet, but it's a bit too, they'll like a bit of cold, a bit of hot, a bit of cold, a bit of hot. So I'll be very patient with my Orlea. I've learnt that in the past. That's some Nigella that are only just starting to do something. Ooh. Okay. And then in here we have got Lavataria. I've never sown that in the autumn, so I'm not sure if that's a good idea or not. Salvia viride. I've got a few empty cells here, but I can see a few things popping up. Calendula, the perennial grass. Can't see anything happening in there. Who have we got here? Who's this? Verbascum. There's one here germinating, is pennycress. Just one germinating in there. The Cerinthe is just starting to come through. I can see one here and one coming here. And then on the end here, yes, Dorcas on the end there. And then just coming again, another Nigella just coming there. And then over here we have got snapdragons, echinops, and more nigella. And I've still got a bit of space here. I'm going to get something else going, I think. And then I've just got one lot of sweet peas here, but I think I'm going to go on and collect some seed now from the ones I grew this year. But thanks very much for watching the video, everybody. Hopefully I'll record something for you next week because I'm not actually going to be at home. I am going to Cornwall, hopping across the border there because my dressage team has qualified for the regional area finals. So we are all going on a little holiday with our ponies. But I will try and record something more gardening related, or perhaps, I don't know, if some of you want a team dressage video, let me know and maybe I could try and film one of those as well. But if you want a gardening one, I'm sure I can fit that in too. Thanks for watching.